Welcome everyone back to Spoiler Warning. We are live, we are back. I'm Tom Colohue and today I lost a fight with a blind. We will be talking wrestling news. We have plenty of headlines for you today. Starting primarily with Wrestlemania coming to London. This announcement hit the airwaves early on today and did cover a lot of ground, but not quite getting into the meat and drink of it, particularly how long this has been going and the fact that London is not the key city that is making the biggest bid. We're going to be talking Triple H talking about bringing back Brock Lesnar. That certainly got people talking. Dave Meltzer's reported that Bobby Lashley wasn't offered a new WWE deal, which simply isn't true. The current relationship between CM Punk and Jack Perry, and yes, we'll be talking Drew McIntyre on that because how could you not? Buddy Matthews has been offered a massive new deal to stay with AEW. More on that and why it directly concerns Aleister Black. A little bit on Corey Graves. He posted a tweet. There was a backlash to it. It wasn't from people you'd expect. Bayley versus Meiko Satomura currently taking place in Japan. That's not going to be coming to a main roster audience. We're going to talk about why. And a lot of people are ignoring the overall importance of the key member of the Wyatt Six, Nikki Cross. Right now we're in the Nikki Cross phase, and a lot of people seem to be ignoring that fact. So those are going to be our headlines. We will, of course, be going through as many comments as possible. And I do apologise, as always, for the echo in here that will diminish as we go. You may see there's a lot more visible wall now. I haven't been making that much effort, but I've been making some, and soon it'll be painted and it'll look okay. The light will bounce off it, my big shiny head will still be a problem, but overall it'll be a better looking screen for everyone. How can we possibly argue? I'm going to be getting to as many of your comments as I possibly can. Please remember, as you join us, to hit the like button. We have 42 people watching already, 16 likes, so a damn good start. Please keep that rolling. But I want to keep caught up with as many comments as I can. Pete, thank you very kindly, renewing your membership for a 19th month. A year and a half, and even then some. Thank you kindly for continuing to be a member of the community here. I'm going to start with what is happening on the Twitch side. Most of the comments I've already caught up with on the YouTube side before we went live, but let's go on to the Twitch side to start with. Spider Boss is saying, hello Tom, with Rhea and Liv fighting to see who gets Dominic. The Women's World Championship seems secondary. It is secondary. This is why I have many questions about the reports coming out of places like Worked Wrestling that's reappeared recently, stating that there's going to be more women's championships. They can't even keep the ones that they've got focused around women. Chris says, hello chat and hello Tom. Welcome Chris. Spider-Ball says it was fun to see Drew's picture with Jack Perry yesterday. Bayley says, will Meiko Satomura have any US matches before her pending retirement? Yes, she will. More on that story later as regards Bayley, but when it comes to more matches on the US soil, she will definitely be having more. Spider-Ball says, Camille finally made her AEW debut. It's good that the AEW paired Camille along with Mercedes Money. That was a request by Mercedes Money. She's looking to feature a lot more women on AEW programming. A faction built around her is certainly a way to achieve that. Jill says, I'm good. Want to find out information about Wrestlemania London? I muscle myself. That's a phrase. Noob says, hello Mr. Colohue. How are you doing today? Doing well, thank you, Noob. Busy few days. I feel like I've been sweating for about 7 months, but overall, still in a good place. Danny says, good evening, Tom. Let's get them likes smashed up. Already up to 26. Damn good ball rolling. Ole, welcome. Says, hello, Tom. How are you? Doing well, thank you. And yourself. Tell me more. Spider-Boss says, while WWE get cameos from TNA top talent, NXT sends women down the card on NXT to face Jordynne Grace. Not really down the card per se, but it is a course of you're refreshing the different roster, and that really does help keep the audience invested. Bliss Gamer says, howdy everyone, howdy to you. And Daniel says, good evening Tom and chat. Good evening Daniel. Robin Dave says, hey Tom, glad the green paint is gone. Gone, not quite. There's still there's a little bit here, there's a little bit up here, there. But bit by bit we're getting there. The problem behind me is that that wall's broken. This wall is not broken, which means this line right here, it's delicate. It's delicate. Crush to say, Tom, any news on a championship for Drew McIntyre? The championship that I expect will be in and around WrestleMania time. I suspect he'll be taking it from Gunter. RM says, hello Tom, PWInsider just reported Beth Phoenix's contract expired. Was she on a special contract or was she just not used as a wrestler? She just wasn't used as a wrestler. She was primarily hired with the intention of using her, well, the most recent contract I should say, was with the intention of backing up Edge. Edge is of course no longer with WWE, doesn't quite work out. Game 59 says, hi Tom, first congrats on the house, appreciate that. An incredible achievement, wish you many more. What's going on with Ricky Starks? Is he going to be kept on ice in AEW for much longer? Yeah, as long as it takes, essentially. It's a very WCW tactic, but it's a tactic nonetheless. Ricky Starks is not likely to be making many appearances in AEW going forward, certainly not that I would expect to see on their major programming. He is being kept in reserve, but they've got a very, very deep bench after all. Aaron is getting excited for SummerSlam, not too long away now. A week and a day away. I'll be hosting a watch party, so I expect to see as many of you as possible. Hopefully there'll be less echo by then, because it will be, well, I'll be up till 5 in the morning. I don't want to keep the whole house awake, you know? Spider-Boss says, Dominic for now picking sides with Rhea Ripley, and he will continue to do so. They are, of course, the faces of the group. I wouldn't say a swerve of a capital there, mate. I wouldn't say that. Wants to say, Tom, according to Tony Khan himself, yesterday said a reliable person told him that the PR in WWE are leaking TV deal renewals for AEW. I think Tony Khan is learning too much from Dave Meltzer, and not in a good way. Adam Ryan says, evening, Tom. Hope you're good. Doing very well, thank you, Adam. Welcome to the show. I like it, Joe. I like seeing what you're doing there. Danny says, Britt versus Mercedes will be a cracker for AEW All In. I expect so. Daniel says, any idea where that Drew Perry photo was taken? It's not new. It's slightly older than it seems. Jason says, I've got my ticket for Bad Blood. Early info on what I may see live. Hoping for a Hell in a Cell match. Who'd you get your early info from? Give your source, mate. Marcel says, I'm now watching the Olympics opening ceremony on TV and listening to you on my phone. Hope you enjoy it. It seems batshit. Ole is doing excellent, just listening and watching while I'm at work. That's the beauty of a show like this. Because we're podcast style, you can listen while you're driving. I know some people who do that. You can listen while you're at work. One thing you don't have to do is put all your focus into it, so you can listen when you shouldn't. Danny says, will Tiffany have a new briefcase tonight, Tom? Nope, because that would have been spoiled already. Eric says, good evening, Tom. How are you doing? Asuka is now off the crutches. It shouldn't be too long, but it was a fairly major surgery, so I wouldn't expect her back immediately. Zane says he will be watching World of Wrestling. Women of Wrestling? That's WOW. Or do you mean World of Sport? Crush Beth Copeland will likely appear in AEW, yes. RM says, hello, Tom. Rumours are circulating that Vinci and Gunter have real-life beef. They don't. Joe says Mania in London is going to be brilliant, if it happens. Robin Dave says countdown to Roman's return has begun. Technically, it started back at WrestleMania time. Michael says, hi, Tom. Hello, Michael. Hello, Michael. Hello, Michael. Spider-Man says a lot of the IWC will be mad after Mercedes retains it all in with some help of Camille. Will they? She's a heel. They're supposed to. And Joe says, what were the ticket prices for Mania London? Well, first there'll need to be a WrestleMania London before we can get to ticket prices, and that will be our top story today. Our top story today is around the news that hit the airwaves earlier on today. WWE's public relations team did send out a hell of a lot of press releases, most of which I've read along this way, but most of their press releases nowadays are just through Triple H's social media accounts. They don't really bother that much with the press releases anymore because, you know, why would you? You can just tweet about it. When it comes to the current setup for WrestleMania in London, it is a concept, nothing is final. This has been something that's actually been, slowly put together over the past few months. This is not something recent. This actually started way back at the original Clash of the Castle in Wales in 2022. So we're talking nearly 2 years of discussions and negotiations. Nothing, however, was concrete until very recently, and there is a reason for that. I should also point out The Rock has been involved in planning. He's obviously a board member and has been directly involved in a lot of the planning involved. He is going to be someone who's a lot more keen to take a front foot going forwards. So the involvement of The Rock has helped the situation and also freed up Triple H and Nick Khan to get more involved themselves. The option to have a WrestleMania, or in fact a major WWE event in England, not the UK, England, only became feasible under the current new Labour government. They are apparently prepared to spend big, knowing that the economy boost will be worth it, but only for a major event like WrestleMania. When a WrestleMania show starts, even as a standard 2 nights, you don't just get WrestleMania, you get everything else. In, for example, New Orleans, in, I want to say, WrestleMania 32, every wrestling show pretty much in the world descended on New Orleans and booked out the entire damn place. Whenever there is a UK show, wrestling promotions from all over make sure to host shows in and around the same area. It is a very lucrative area. With this in mind, and for the high-profile boost it will give them, the plan is essentially to, if they're having WrestleMania, get it done within the next 5 years. And that is why negotiations have now started on the amount of money it's going to cost and the amount of money that the council in London can afford to spend. That said, it is likely not to come anytime soon because we're looking at the opening salvos. The announcement is in many ways designed to instigate a major bidding war for WWE services. The yardstick has spoken. Michael, thank you very kindly. A 41st month of membership. We are rapidly approaching 4 years of membership, Michael. The yardstick, thank you as always. A bidding war has already started. A number of different countries, primarily countries that have already hosted WWE events and seen the resulting boost to their economy that comes from this, have already started putting bids in and making their interest clear that they want to host a WrestleMania if WrestleMania is an option. Those countries include Saudi Arabia, who have been suggesting for a number of years that WrestleMania should be held in Saudi Arabia, and they are prepared to throw a whole lot of money at the WWE to do so. If the Mighty Book is indeed the most powerful thing, Saudi Arabia will host WrestleMania within the next 5 years. The UK will not go quiet. Wembley is waiting. That is our top story, but we've got plenty more news for you. Starting with Triple H on Brock Lesnar, we're going to be talking Dave Meltzer's report on Bobby Lashley and how inaccurate it is. We're going to be talking CM Punk, Jack Perry and Drew McIntyre. Buddy Matthews getting a lucrative new deal and how Aleister Black is involved in that. Corey Graves deleting a tweet, being forced to by sources you would not expect. Bayley versus Meiko Satomura taking place in Japan. And of course, the importance of Nikki Cross not being recognised in the Wyatt 6. I'm going to catch you with the chat and then we will continue. There are 71 people watching at current, only the 31 likes. Please remember to hit that thumbs up when you join. It does guarantee more viewers for this show. RM says, hello Tom, any news on Ludwig's injury and if he'll be available for Bash in Berlin? He should be available for Bash in Berlin, primarily though as a mouthpiece and not as a wrestler. P says, I wonder how much WWE is charging London for the pleasure. Nothing is confirmed and formal yet. Spider-Boss says, isn't it considered... Not sure what you're going for there, Spider-Boss, and I don't really want to read it. Chris says, Roman should say, you acknowledge me as he turns tweener. I like that. That works. Michael says, how long would you think Mercedes is the TBS champion? Quite a while. I'd put it in the region of about a year. She'll be feuding with a large number of different people to try and get the championship over, but she will take numerous small breaks in that period. Gotcha, Jason. I misunderstood, or there was at least cross wires somewhere. I don't have information on Bad Blood as of yet, though I do expect a Hell in a Cell match. I'm looking at CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre for that one. Daniel says, surely WWE must have eyes on Wembley Stadium for Mania. Wembley is the obvious choice, yes. It will also be a bit of a celebration from the WWE if they're able to achieve a substantial amount of money for Wembley, where their opponent AEW had to spend. Now, so I'm English and love my country. Really don't think it should be in England. Should always be in North America. Next we'll have Champions League final in New York. I mean, you know it's coming, right? Danny says, will SmackDown be any good tonight? Yes, because they're able to edit and bring in the highlights. Bailey says, does the re-election of Sadiq Khan as a Labour leader also play into the Mania discussions? Yes, it does, because he literally promised to get WrestleMania, or at least try to get WrestleMania, if he was re-elected. This is him keeping that promise. Yes, Sid, that's what I expected. Michael says, if I become a wrestler, I'll be named the Yardstick. The Yardstick works, mate. Better for a finisher, though, I would say. Robin Day says, I hope they play Roman's music to get that pop, or do you think they'll just have him spear solo out of nowhere? I don't think that's what's going to happen. Personally, I still have the image of Roman's music hitting, him walking down, then Paul Heyman walks down, then Jimmy Uso walks down, then Jey Uso walks down, all four of them at the top of the ramp. It's not really a ramp anymore, but you get what I'm saying. And then they just march down. And in the time that they're marching, Cody Rhodes wins the match. Aaron says, hello Tom, any possibility MVP and Triple H can patch up their issues? What issues are those, Aaron? Spider-Boss says, tonight SmackDown is taped. Bayley's on WWE shows in Japan. Yes, it is previously taped. Danny says, when is Julia coming to NXT? Soon. Billy says, quite a brainless response from Tony when asked about the unprotected chair shot. Yeah, they're having a few difficulties there. They really are. And the potential for injury is one that they're struggling to get away from, especially after what happened to Matt Hardy way back when. And there's plenty of others. Matt Hardy's been injured a few times. RM says, is Gunter versus Ilya for the World Heavyweight Championship a Bash in Berlin possibility? Unlikely at this point in time. And Joe says, everyone hit the like button for Team Tom. Thank you very kindly. 40 likes so far. Please keep that rolling and we will continue to grow in viewership. Ishii says, hello Tom, hope you're okay. Doing very well, thank you Ishii, welcome. Joe says, I could see Gunter beating Priest at SummerSlam. Me too. For those who haven't already watched it, it's got nearly 1,000 views now. My predictions for the SummerSlam card and the SummerSlam match finishes are already live. PLE Wednesdays on Wednesday. Ishii says, is Uncle Howdy versus Chad going to be announced next week or something? Every bit of information I've got on that one has already been shared in that video on Wednesday. Evening, Si. Good to see you, mate. Game says, are the rumours of Survivor Series in LA this year true? Seeing Jacob Moonsault off the cage in person would likely give me a spiritual awakening. Still rumours at this point in time. This is not usually information that I get. The different areas and such, I tend to have more information about creative. Si says, I think for the bragging rights, WWE would want to say they got a bigger attendance record over 2 nights at Wembley versus AEW's numbers. They could find a way. I want to say, Tom, here in the US it looks like Donald Trump is in the driver's seat. Okay. I mean, different polls say different things, as you know. Danny says, SmackDown has all been pre-recorded. Yes. Newbie's also seeing Gunter winning the World Heavyweight title at SummerSlam. Spider-Boss says, Bron Breakker spear on Dragunov was brutal. Dragunov got knocked out. Yeah. It hurt. Daz says, Tom, when do you think Jimmy returned? I've just said SummerSlam. Aaron says, SummerSlam has 7 matches confirmed. Will we get any more? Check out the video on Wednesday where I detail my answers to that. Dog Knight says, if WrestleMania comes to England, it should be at Anfield. Oh, you'll never wrestle alone. I like what you've done there. Valentia says, hi Tom, hope you're well. Any news on Ricochet, Malachi Black or Keith Lee's contracts and what company they might end up? A little bit on Malachi Black, only in relation to Buddy Matthews though. Only in relation to Buddy Matthews. Quick thing before we get to our next piece of news. I know that obviously the backdrop is still changing. My office space is far from finished. It's a work in progress. As I say, I lost a 5 blind this morning. Not this morning, a few hours ago, this afternoon. Lost a 5 blind. I'm eventually going to get it working. But right now, there's nothing stopping people from just watching what I'm doing. And as it's quite late over here, that'd be creepy. So I'm going to try and avoid that as much as I possibly can. While that's ongoing, I am back. I am back with PLE Wednesdays. I am back with WTF Wrestling on Sundays. This is not going to be what we were the last few months, where it was just spoiler warning. A big giveaway of that should be the fact that every day for the past 2 days, there's been a short, not really every day, it's 2 days, but you get what I mean. There will be more. There's been a short per day, and I'm planning to continue that as long as there is news to share. A lot of the news will come directly from spoiler warning and essentially be recaps of what I've already said, but it'll be new to the shorts feed, so I'll absolutely share it. We are back, and you'll be seeing a lot more content from the Tom Colohue channels. Our next piece of news. Triple H has stated that the door is open on a Brock Lesnar return, but it would require Brock Lesnar to be interested in returning. I reported previously that Brock Lesnar left the company quietly to allow his contract to run down. It was not necessarily his choice though. The WWE board were eager to remove him from TV and pay him until they no longer had to. Triple H has stated the door is open, and if Brock Lesnar wishes to come to the table, a deal may be struck. Triple H was not being entirely honest. What I will say is that Brock Lesnar likely will come back if certain things are in place for him. Firstly, he wants a match with Gunter and Gunter wants a match with him. And secondly, he wants Vince McMahon back. Yeah, it's not a great piece of news. But yeah. Call Danny, we'll see you Monday. Villain says, will the Bloodline Civil War be a slow build? Or does WWE plan on hitting the ground running with Roman's return? They plan on hitting the ground running. Sally says, my vote's for Craven Cottage if they ever bring Mania to London. For those that don't know, that is the ground of Fulham, which is owned by the Khan family. Yes, Dog Knight, I remember you being a bit of an OG when it comes to wrestling days and the Tom Colohue community. So you would know better than anyone how often my name comes up over there. I have nothing but respect for Days and the effort that he puts in and the content that he creates. So I'm very happy to have that ally, that friend in the community. And if anything, it really is quite invigorating to know that there are so many people who are actively rooting for you and trying to help you succeed. I will repay as best I can with my paltry compared audience and see what we can do. Noob says, what are your thoughts on WWE wrestlers being on Call of Duty? I mean, it's the only time Roman Reigns went on up, down, down. Spider-Boss says, when do you think we could see Julia Hart back on TV? Relatively soon. They're going to wait until the storyline's right, and there are other women that they're focusing on right now. Billy says, I like the background Wyatt family vibes. When a fridge falls on me, then we can talk about that. Ooh, where was I quoted, Dog Knight? I always like being quoted in articles. RM says, hello Tom, will Bobby have a last match / segment similar to Ricochet, or will WWE just let his contract end without one more appearance? It does depend on the circumstances. Ricochet was trusted, whereas Bobby Lashley has a bit of unfinished business. Crush says, is CM Punk happy in WWE? Damn right he is. Damn right he is. Spider-Boss says, Rikishi got some hatred after he complained about Jey Uso's booking in WWE. People on social media don't understand Rikishi just wants the best for his son. I agree. And honestly, quite recently, while Jey Uso was big until his feud with Damian Priest, Jey Uso's not doing much anymore. As I did mention, until Roman returns, there's not that much for him. Joey says, hey Tom, welcome back. Do you see WWE doing full 100k sellout if they go to the UK? Difficult. There aren't that many places you're going to get a 100k sellout. RM says, hello Tom, does WWE see the Death Rebel theme criticism, or does Triple H indeed like the themes they create? They see it, they've acknowledged it, to be fair. Joey, I've never had any news on Motor City Machine Guns. Lad Bible, interesting, Dog Knight, can't imagine so. One says, it looks like Jamie Hayter will be Britt Baker's backup. Maria May will dethrone Toni Storm. Not sure Toni Storm's going to lose it. Really not. Ricky says, hey Tom, buddy, good to see you. Happy Friday and hope you're doing well. Thank you kindly for that and welcome to the show. Rosal says, hello Tom, just joined. Did I miss anything? You missed the top story and a little bit on Brock Lesnar. Spider-Boss says, if WWE didn't have plans for a single run for Jey Uso, why did WWE break up the Usos? They did have plans for a single run for Jey Uso. We're into more than the first year of that, guys. It's been more than a year since a singles run of Jey Uso started. Maybe factor that in. So they did have plans. A year on, their plans are wait for Roman. Game 59 says, is Bronson Reed in line for a push at some point soon? No. He's there. He's regularly being used. That's the most he can really say about it. There's a report from Dave Meltzer earlier today that Bobby Lashley was not offered a new deal by the WWE and neither was MVP. The idea being that there had been some fallout between them and Triple H was eager to be rid of them. I cannot confirm the news as regards MVP, but I can state categorically Bobby Lashley was offered a new deal with the WWE. It was not a lucrative deal. It was not a particularly strong offer. He's confident, as I mentioned on Monday, that if he waits, he'll get a much better offer elsewhere. So a brief bit of news on that one. Okay, Dog Knight, that is not a new article, I'll tell you that. Dropkick Discussions. Ugh. I never named that. I hated it. I tried to rename it. They wouldn't let me. Was the Sports Keeda podcast that I quit 4 years ago. Because they kept telling me to make it shorter. Yeah, just have less news. I never understood that. Sid, maybe. I went live last time. It was fun. Villain says, will WWE try and make some shows/movies on Netflix once the move happens? That is not part of the deal in question. KJ says, what's up, Tom? Hello, KJ. Thank you for giving me the exact quote, Dog Knight. I can definitely say that isn't new, but they do tend to refresh it every now and then. Spider-Boss says, Jacob Fatu looks more dominant than Solo Sikoa. Yep, and they knew he would. Noob says, your thoughts on Camille debuting in AEW? Will she be a world champion that Jade Cargill failed to be? Jade Cargill didn't fail to be a world champion. She wasn't there for long enough. It's an interesting take. KJ says, do you know why Vince had Hardy squash Cross in his debut? Didn't squash him. There's a difference between a squash and a lucky roll-up. Big difference. Joey says, Meltzer reported WWE has given up on Omos. Is there any truth to that report? It depends what you mean by giving up. He's not featured a lot, but he never was. Can you give up on someone that you never really pushed? Chris says, what was the fallout backstage at WWE in reaction to MVP alluding to Triple H as a racist? There wasn't one. Was there a tweet that I missed there? Daniel says, who owns the name Her Business? WWE. KJ says, what's going on with Dave Meltzer? He's been getting a bunch of stuff wrong. Contract news of MVP, Bobby and Punk. Yeah. Eric says, basically Bobby Lashley and WWE playing a game of chicken to see who blinks first. Yes and no. It's not really a game of chicken when it's possible that neither of them blink, and in fact a different company comes in and says, yeah, we'll have it. Thank you, Crush. Appreciate that. Next piece of news is as regards CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. Now, there was a picture posted by Drew McIntyre of him with Jack Perry. It was a picture taken quite a while ago that was held basically for an ideal moment, and the ideal moment did indeed come. Drew McIntyre had the picture for a while. He shared it with CM Punk, and CM Punk agreed that that's going to get people talking. You should totally post it. Jack Perry and CM Punk have largely buried the hatchet, largely dealt with the issues that they were having, and largely blamed Tony Khan for the issues. It was in fact around the time of Perry debuting in New Japan that Punk reached out and had discussions, and everything was sort of put behind them. So the idea that this was a massive shot at CM Punk simply isn't the case. Now, it was deleted for a number of reasons. First and foremost, when it comes to Drew McIntyre, he's currently in a storyline not just with Punk but also with Adam Pearce, which will also then transition later on after Seth Rollins and CM Punk take the stage leading into WrestleMania. So he may be able to now use the line, oh, I was told by management to delete it. But also Colt Cabana saw it, and CM Punk wasn't happy about that. Yeah. There might have been a quashing of the beef between Punk and Perry. There has not been a quashing between CM and Colt. As regards CM Punk's new deal, CM Punk isn't necessarily negotiating a new deal, that's sensationalism. He simply passed the first point of no return in a deal based largely on trust or lack thereof. I mentioned during his debut, during my Survivor Series watch party, firstly, that he was going to be competing for the World Heavyweight Championship against Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, which was the plan as has been made clear, but also that there were a lot of different clauses, get-out clauses and caveats in his contract. There is a restructuring, not a renegotiation, because basically they don't feel they need those anymore. What comes next will be a real, more honest deal that works for everyone. We currently have 91 people watching and 54 likes. One more gets me to 55. One more. Have a double check. If you've not hit like, now's the time. One more will get us there. Villain says, I wonder if we'll get Breakker versus Lesnar this year. That would be an insane match. I find it unlikely. Marcel says that's the like record for most likes on a video on live stream at SummerSlam. Let's go, guys. We'll see how it goes. We get a lot of traffic in the watch parties, but not a lot of people stay. Joey says, how did WWE get Natalya to re-sign? Did they offer more money or did she not have much interest elsewhere? I haven't personally reported that she has re-signed. I don't have that information. But she did allow her contract to expire, expecting offers to be made by AEW. Spider-Boss says, Jade Cargill and AEW didn't go after the AEW women's title. Now in AEW, the AEW women's title is more important than the TBS women's title. Do you mean that the other way around? KJ says Gunter as world champion defending against Brock at Bash in Berlin would be nice. I do think if that's what you're gonna, if you're gonna bring him in, that'll be the time to do it. Andrew says, hello Tom, I think WWE Wrestlemania London would literally sell out. It would be fantastic. Also went to see the new Deadpool yesterday, greatest movie experience ever, but I recommend you see it. I will definitely be watching it. Christoph says, hi Tom, always good to see you, but to be honest I still miss the Intercontinental podcast and your chats with Nick. Happy for you that you moved in with your partner and family, and all the best from Germany. Thank you, Christoph. I appreciate that. The Intercontinental adventure simply became infeasible. I wanted my weekends back. That's the main reason for it. And although I still have all the respect in the world for Nick and would love to see him succeeding in all of his endeavours, it was simply time to move on to something else. I regret that I ended something that he was also enjoying, but it was time for me to move on. Spider-Boss says, I remember Jay didn't go after the AEW Women's Champion. Okay, gotcha. Clyde says, just stopping through to provide like number 52. I wanted a video later at my second job. Looking forward to SmackDown. Hope all is well in the new house, Tom, and congrats once again. Thank you, Clyde. Appreciate you for all of those things that you've done. Daniel says, no, pick a Drew of Colt Cabana next. Spider-Boss says, every time the Wrestling Observer talks about CM Punk, I don't take it seriously, mainly because Meltzer hates Punk. There does seem to be an agenda on that one. Turnbuckle Studios, you're right, mate. There's one more like given. I appreciate you. Thanks, mate. Appreciate you too. Chris says, there's a SummerSlam watch party. You should wear a summer-themed outfit. With how hot it is recently, I might get my Lemons shirt out. Jason, I don't have that detail at this point. They haven't decided. Blue says, hi Tom, great to see you. Why do you think the idea of a London Mania has gained traction? Because the WWE wanted it to. Dax says, hello Tom, how's life treating you? Doing very well, thank you. Brand new house, which I can afford. It's weird. Joey says, do you know if WWE has interest in Daniel Garcia for NXT? Not really. Villain says, hit that like button. Let's get Tom into that YouTube algorithm. 63 likes at the moment. 63. Numbers they just keep going. Spider-Boss says, a match with Gunter and Vince back. I mean, Brock will not get what he wants for a return. No. And Jamie says, Breaker versus Strowman for the IC title if he wins the SummerSlam could be so good. I can see that working. There's a lot more going on as regards the NBA and the Warner Brothers Discovery offer one, and because of how much legal jargon is involved, I will be avoiding that particular topic. Game 59 says, is there an under-the-radar name that WWE are looking at bringing in that people aren't expecting? There are quite a few. Dax says, have I missed any Wire 6 news? Nope, we've not got to that as of yet. Hector says, Tom, did you see Cody being gifted one of his father's robes and hat at a live event in Japan? I did. The WWE are definitely making a big deal out of it, and rightly so. Spider-Boss says, who do you think is the most likely to take the title off Bayley? Charlotte. Joey says, is NXT going to keep loading up on talent for NXT before the CW premiere? Yeah. They don't want to miss anyone that they want or that they feel they can groom in the right direction. Villain says, which SummerSlam match are you most excited for? Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley. It's hot. I don't know how better to describe it. It's hot. Bit of AEW news now. Buddy Matthews has indeed been offered a massive deal to stay with AEW. We are talking a deal that should not be offered to someone of his position on the card, particularly when AEW are trying to save money. It does suggest they either have a massive TV deal coming and suddenly think they've got all the money in the world, or they simply think that Buddy Matthews is worth every penny, which, if that's true, why are they using him in the way that they are? Tony Khan is said to be concerned with the imagery of losing so many people back to WWE and is offering big money in order to prevent that image from happening. He doesn't want a repeat of Jade Cargill. He definitely does not want a repeat of Cody Rhodes. Aleister Black is on the radar, though his deal doesn't expire yet. It's believed to run for about another year and has been extended after injury time. I still expect Aleister Black to return to the WWE, but with the amount of money on offer, he may decide to stick around. Dad says, if AEW and WWE teamed up, who would you have the Bucks face? The Usos, no question. Interesting crush. Villain says, that's going to be a good one. I wish Eddie Guerrero was around for this storyline. True, that would be fun. Blue says, stupid contracts are good for wrestlers. Happy for them. True. Kevin Nash, my word. Crush says, that's just bad. Now WCW died, that's all I'll say. Corey Graves chose to delete a tweet he recently posted about unprotected chair shots to the head due to pressure from wrestlers in both the AEW and WWE camps. Several people seem to have assumed what he had posted was in bad faith and he was shouted down. Now, personally, I disagree, and I'm a little concerned that wrestlers from either company are speaking to Corey Graves as disrespectfully as I'm told that they did. I believe he said a very worthwhile thing about protecting yourself, protecting your body, and protecting yourself from injury. Now, it was construed by many to be an attack on AEW. I don't believe that that's what it was, but certainly people are entitled to their own opinions because free speech, yada yada. It was a call for restraint in a business where people die young. I don't think he's wrong to say it, personally. Roger says, is Rhea Ripley a babyface or a heel? She's a babyface. RM says, hello Tom, will we see Bianca versus Bayley for the title anytime this year? Possible, less likely if Bobby Lashley doesn't remain. Less likely. Joey says, if Keith Lee is healthy and not with AEW anymore, do you think Triple H should be interested in bringing him back? I don't believe his contract has expired as of yet. Daniel says, apparently it was a gimmicked chair. We have heard that since, which in many ways seems like it was designed to calm people down. Hasn't necessarily, but we're all watching a big tribal celebration, really. KJ says, do you think Samoa Joe will come back too? I can tell you with confidence that Triple H is desperate to have him back. It's up to him if he comes back. Bayley says, when Charlotte returns, is she a heel or a face? She'll be a face. Interesting, Spider Boss. Not really what I would go for. Joey says, is TK going to keep throwing a ton of money at people just to prevent them from going to WWE? That seems to be the suggestion that I'm hearing. KJ says, MJF made a tweet about the chair shot and deleted. I think everyone eventually learned to calm down. And Daniela says, hi Tom, anything on Ricochet? Not at this point in time. I'm not aware of any intentions at the moment from AEW to debut him. It would get in the way of current storylines. I've not been able to confirm that he's going to AEW, but I'm aware there's a report out about that, so that's what I'm referring to. P says, Ricochet can't compete for 90 days, I think. Not the case, his contract expired, he was not released. Two pieces of news left. Let's start with what's going on in WWE right now in Japan. Bayley is facing Meiko Satomura in a match that genuinely whets the appetite for wrestling of all kinds. I can unfortunately confirm that this is not expected to turn into a full feud and is largely just for a sympathetic Japanese audience. I'm also being told that Bayley is playing heel for the live events because Meiko Satomura. Meiko Satomura is also doing work with Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, primarily working directly as a coach with Jade Cargill. As we know, Jade Cargill is someone that has worked for a few coaches now. Natalya was one of them, and Natalya had in fact, while out of contract, continued to coach Jade Cargill for the WWE, which is considered a showing of good faith, and one of the reasons she did get a deal that was sweetened slightly for her. The WWE are concerned about Jade Cargill. They were also a little bit concerned about Meiko Satomura on the main roster, which is why she's not really debuted there as of yet. WWE do not believe she would work on a main roster stage, largely due to promo and communication issues. So we're not expecting to see too much Meiko Satomura versus Bayley, and Joey, that's also why we haven't seen her used too much in NXT. Nobody's bad, P. Nobody's bad. You're attempting to answer the question. I just happen to have a bit more information, that's all. Dax is excited to see more of Joe Gacy. Michael says, PWInsider report Beth Phoenix's contract has expired. It's unclear if she is interested in joining her husband in AEW and or if AEW is interested in her. Phoenix has yet to publicly comment on the news. I expect Beth Phoenix to start making AEW appearances without signing a contract. Spider-Boss says, Cody threw a steel chair to AJ Styles at Clash at the Castle. Corey Graves didn't say anything. The chair spot at AEW Blood and Guts isn't a big deal. To you, the spot for Clash at the Castle, Corey Graves might have said something to them. He might have also said it publicly to reach the wrestlers in question. Also, he might have reached a breaking point. It's not tribal, He was concerned. That's all it was. Danielle says, Tom, do you reckon Ivy Nile eventually joins up with Gable and the Creed brothers? The reason I say eventually is because I have a feeling WWE will use the Creeds to settle in this new group with Gable. Yeah, that's indeed the plan. Michael says what Gray said was harmless, but you know how the IWC is. Yes, I agree. It was honestly said in quite good faith and I believe quite good communication. Clearly, I'm not the prevailing opinion. Roger says, Nick Nemeth's first TNA title defense is Mustafa Ali. Do you think it'll be a good match? I think it'll be a damn good match. And I think it'll be Mustafa Ali's championship to win. Dylan says, when can we see Matt Cardona back in WWE? Don't think we ever will. He doesn't want to come. Isaiah says, do you see Mako versus Asuka on Mako's last run? Possibly, but not on the main roster. And finally, a lot of people are overlooking the importance of Nikki Cross in this first phase of the Wyatt Six. She is the herald, she is the harbinger of doom, and she's the one who isn't taking the mask off just yet. She's there to retain the creepy, she's there to retain the insanity. Watch Nikki Cross. Yes, I know, long term we're watching the pig. But right now, we have to keep an eye on Nikki Cross too. Spider-Boss says, I never got why Jade left AEW. She was one of the top stars in the AEW women's division because she believed that if she was a top star in WWE women's division, she'd be a much bigger star. Bailey says, is Lyra Valkyrie's pairing with Chance and Carter a step back for her or does a lack of storylines for her? Neither. It's an opportunity for Chance and Carter. Hey Daniel, happy Friday to you too. Hector says if Beth doesn't have much wrestling left in her, the knowledge she has can definitely be beneficial to the AEW women's locker room. Dax says, how do you feel about the Uncle Howdy ring attire? We'll see more of it soon. Villain says, Tommy made me laugh this morning with a taller Tonga tweet. Yeah, because he'd be tall. He'd be tall. Marcel says, watch the pig. We have been live for 42 minutes. We have we peaked at 93 viewers. We've had 67 likes and we're going to wrap it up there. We'll be back on Sunday with WTF Wrestling looking at the Wyatt Six in depth, detailing everything I know about plans for their future, and then we'll be back live again on Monday, hopefully with a bit more work having gone in and a blind that I'm no longer being defeated by. Until then, I'm going to say a massive thank you to all of you and wrap it up. I've been Tom Colohue, you've been fantastic, and we'll see you all very soon.